Hi, this is subject and predicate exercise 3. We're going to move through this. The first thing we want to do in sentence number 1 is to identify our prepositional phrases. We do not have any of those, so I'm going to look for my verbs, and I see this word that ends in an ed. Owned is a verb, so I'm going to underline that twice. I have an and that tells me that whatever's on the left is the same as whatever's on the right. So I'm going to underline operated as well. And then I'm going to ask myself, who owned and operated a Class C dairy? And the answer to that is family. So family is my subject. Number 2, I need to find my prepositional phrases. So about 10 is a prepositional phrase, and to 12 cows is another prepositional phrase. I'm going to mark that out. Then I want to ask myself, what's the verb? Milked is the action verb. So I'm going to underline that twice. And I said, I'll ask myself, who milked about 10 to 12 cows every day? And the answer to that question is they. Okay, number 3, I'm going to find my prepositional phrases. And I don't have any. So I need to look and see, what are my verbs? And right here, were named is a verb. Who were named? Beulah, Letty, and Irene, the cows. So we're going to underline the cows once. Okay. Now I still have a lot of words back here, so I'm going to make sure I don't have any more subjects and verbs. So cows were named Beulah, Letty, and Irene. And then I have this comma and here is a verb. So I'm going to underline that twice and make sure, and I'll say, who knew her name? Well, each cow. So cow is a subject. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this one. Number 4, the cows walk back and forth from the pasture to the barn, to the milk barn twice a day. So from the pasture is a prepositional phrase. To the milk barn is a prepositional phrase. So I know my subjects and verbs will not be found in that. Now I want to ask myself, what is the verb? And I have this walked. It's an ed word that usually indicates that it's a verb. And I ask myself, who walked back and forth? And the answer to that is cows. And then I come twice a day. I don't have any more verbs, so that is all I have in that sentence. So I have 2 there. Number 5, the whole family woke up around 4 a.m. to go to the dairy barn to milk the cows. So let me find my prepositional phrases. Around 4 a.m. And then to go is an infinitive. To the dairy barn is a prepositional phrase. So we put our prepositional phrase inside of the infinitive phrase. To milk is an infinitive phrase. We put the whole thing, to milk the cows. So now I can mark through that whole rest of that sentence, and I'm only dealing with the family woke up. So what's the verb in that? Woke is the action verb. So we're going to underline that twice and ask myself, who woke up? And it is family. So family is my subject. All of that for just, okay, just for 2. Okay, number 6. I want to find my subjects, my predicate, what am I saying? Prepositional phrases. All right, to the dairy barn is a prepositional phrase. And to milk the cows is an infinitive phrase. And in the evening is a prepositional phrase. And I'm going to put my prepositional phrase inside my infinitive phrase. And mark it all out, because I'm not going to find a subject and verb in there. So now I want to find, what is my action? And here is my action, went. And so who went to the dairy barn? Then each evening the family is the answer. Mom, dad, and son. Those are a positive modifying family. So we're going to say there's only 2 in this one. Number 7, to the dairy barn is a prepositional phrase. Over the years is a prepositional phrase. Here's a word that, it's a relative pronoun. Look out for these because that's going to say there's another subject and verb on this side of the sentence. In the sandy loam soil is a prepositional phrase. Okay, so I know these are not going to be I'm busy. Okay, let's keep going. So we want to see, do we have any verbs in this sentence? The cows had walked. I know had walked right here is a verb. So underline that twice. And then I asked myself who had walked, what had walked, and cows is the subject. Okay. Now I want to keep looking. So many times is not a verb. Here we have a verb, had worn. So I'm going to underline that twice. And I asked myself who had worn, and the answer to that is they. And then a deep trail. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 subjects and verbs in that sentence. Number 8, into the barn is a prepositional phrase. And I don't need that, so I'm going to just mark it out. And in a stanchion is a prepositional phrase. A stanchion is a thing that holds their head when they're eating. So I'm going to mark that out. And I'm going to look for verbs. Walked is a verb. So I'm going to underline that twice and ask myself who walked. Cows walked. So cows walked is one subject and verb. And put is a verb. So I'm going to underline that twice. And I ask myself who put their heads in a stanchion. The correct answer is they, referring to the cows. So cows walked and they put, so we have 4 subjects and verbs in there. Number 9, here we have an infinitive, to hold the cow's head in place. That whole thing is an infinitive phrase. In place is a prepositional phrase. Okay, what's the action? Here we have was milking. That is an action. I'm going to underline that twice and ask myself, who was milking? Oh, this is kind of confusing. Is it the person or is it the who? Let's see if we can figure something else out. Here we have a verb. We have shut. So let's underline that twice. And now let's see if we can figure this out. Who shut the board? Okay, person. Person shut the board. And it would have helped us a lot if we'd have had a comma right here. Then we would have known that who is the subject. So we have 2 sets of subjects and verbs. And this one, we have 1 set of subject and verb coming in the middle of another set of subjects and verbs. But we got it figured out. All right, number 10. We do not have any prepositional phrases, but I see munched as a verb. I'm going to underline that. And chewed is a verb. I'm going to underline that. Who munched and chewed? The cow. So there we have 1 set of subjects and verbs. I still have a lot of words back here, so let me see. All right, I have the word while, and that's a subordinating conjunction. That tells me I'm probably going to have another subject and verb. And I have a verb right here, milked. So I'm going to underline that twice and ask who milked her? The farmer. So I did have 2 sets of subjects and verbs. Okay, so we have 5. This one, 5. Let's see how many we have here. We have So for this one, we have 36 possible. So count up the number you have correct and place those over 36.